It would be so handy if you were sat there and we could just chat like this. Good morning. It's still morning. It's not super early. It's some point in morning. I'm trying not to look at the time as much as to not put pressure on myself to do more things. It's Sunday. Happy Sunday. I needn't comment on the weather. You already know that there's no sun. So that's really impacting my motivation, I should say, lack thereof. On a gloomy Sunday, I don't want to do anything. But the whole point of this video is that's okay. And I'm letting myself feel like that and not push against it, because when I push against that feeling, that's when I either create poorer quality works or resent the works that I'm working on, or drive myself into a point where I simply refuse or cannot work on said works. So we're gonna take this day nice and slow. Hello, by the way, my name's Dakota. Always forget that. I'm a writer and I live in London. I'm currently trying this thing where I remain ultra present, which is interesting because in remaining ultra present, I find that I tend to lose myself in being so present. I'm a very forwards focused person and past focused person, because A, I love to ruminate, and B, I love to forecast. This is nothing new. We're all the same. We're all humans. In being so present, I find myself daydreaming a lot. So I'll stare at the ceiling to think about how I feel right now, what I should do right now, but then I'll just end up daydreaming, which isn't really present, is it? I mean, I suppose it's present in an alternate universe, in a parallel reality. It's present because I'm imagining scenarios and ruminating and playing things out differently, in the present tense at least. I am well aware that it is contradictory in remaining so present that I lose myself to the present moment, and then I lose the now. But I'm not the kind of person that's ever known balance. Why am I chatting about this right now? Because it's on my mind. But also, why am I chatting about this? Because that's the point of this video, the importance of presence and the importance of boredom. And I say boredom, not that it is necessarily boredom, but I mean it is viewed as boredom to have bouts of doing sweet nothing. I had a few days last week where I cleared them completely to work on my novel, but then I wasn't very creatively inspired, and so I couldn't really write much of any value. And so I didn't do much, and I found myself bored. And that was a wake-up call, because I haven't found myself bored in a long time, because my life is very fast-paced and chaotic and wonderful and magnificent. And then it made me realize our grandparents were right. Our grandparents were right. Boredom is so important. Boredom is so important, because when you sit in a moment when you're not actively thinking about what you should be doing or what you've done or those kinds of things, that's when ideas come to you, and that's when you process things, and that's when you're most present in the now. Boredom is imperative. I think specifically for our generation, because we're the iPhone kids. We're the technology generation. So we've always had access to these dopamine rushes, and you know, it's the kind of thing, it's as simple as just waking up and going on your phone. I'm not shaming anyone for this, because I'm guilty as charged. But waking up and rolling over and going straight on your phone and getting that dopamine hit and not thinking, or, you know, having a spare moment between tasks and spending it on your phone, or just, I don't know, the dopamine chasing. I'm not one of those people who's like, woo, dopamine detox. That's not who I am as a person. I can't be that militant with myself, otherwise I'll go insane. But I'm just trialing a lack thereof of dopamine, and it's made me really, I'm yearning. I'm ruminating, I'm thinking about everything and nothing all at once. I figured that today we could spend the day together, being soft and slow and ruminating if it comes, and letting it pass, and working on some creative projects. I have to edit my novel, and I've been painting again, which is really fun. Just small things like that. And so this really is just spend a day with me, kind of a vlog style video, but more conscious of allowing the stillness and the boredom to seep through, and not assuming it's bad, because it's not. I even want to try a different style of filming with this video, and rather than have it so fast-paced and exciting and glamorous, I want to try and film it a bit slower, and when I edit it, I want to have it with some bouts of silence and some bouts of stillness, so you can be silent and still and present with me. It's an experiment. I don't know, it might be boring. Dare I say that's the point. I love that I'm speaking like I'm the first person to discover this. Do you guys know that boredom is good for you? Someone write that down. I have been journaling. I have been journaling up a storm. Journaling and I have an interesting relationship. And I either journal obsessively for months at a time, 10 pages a day or more, or I'll journal not at all for months, because I don't know balance. I'm not a grey girl, I'm a black or white girl, you know, no middle area for me. It's either all or nothing. But I'm currently in my all phase. I just got to start a new journal, and the most incredibly productive feeling in the entire world. And maybe it's because of who I am as a person, maybe it's because I'm a Virgo, if you believe in that stuff. Finishing a journal, chef's kiss. It's like top 5 brilliant moments of history. It makes you feel so productive, and this is a whole book of my thoughts. This is a recollection of events and thoughts and ruminating and pondering and processing all in this little thing, and then I can go back and read it. I finished my journal the other night in bed, and then I was meant to go out. I spent 2 hours just reading my entire journal, and then I went out super late and super pensive. I find as well that I only really get hooked on journaling when I'm bored, or when I'm pensive, or when something's wrong, or when I have a crush or something or other. When things are really wonderful and fast-paced and well, I don't journal because I'm present, you know. But I think that I'm trying to reframe journaling as a way of being present rather than stuck in the future or the past. I'm writing every day, and I try and write in the morning and the night, and I try and write about the exact moment that I'm writing it. And I find that it helps me as well remain present, because when I write about the things that have occurred during the day, I won't take them with me to the next day because I've processed them in this little bad boy here. This is my full journal here, and you've probably seen this in a lot of videos because it does obviously come with me everywhere. It's finally full, which is just so brilliant and wonderful. And this is my new journal, and she's clean, she's empty. Kind of stressful, isn't it? But I mean, brimming with possibilities. Brimming with possibilities? Is that a phrase? I always get questions on where I got them as well. I got this one from, this is merchandise from the Wallace collection, which is my favorite gallery in London. It's official Wallace collection merchandise. I've had this for like 2 years. It takes me 2 years to fill a journal because I just don't write for months at a time. This one is from Choosing Keeping, which is an adorable stationery store in London. And this was a gift. This is a gift from a friend, Rowan, who is an author, and I shared her book launch, and this is a little thank you, which is so lovely. This is the most me journal I've ever seen, and I love that you can grasp me from one meeting and give me a me journal. That made me feel very seen. I think journaling as well has an interesting rep because people think it can be quite rigid, just writing these pages and pages of ideas or whatnot, but it's really not. I mean, sometimes I just draw, sometimes I just doodle and sketch, and sometimes I try and write poems, and sometimes I write everything I can smell and everything I can see and hear and touch and all that kind of stuff. I think that I would roll in my grave if somebody posthumously published my journals, because they're not, you know, it's your safe space to write whatever you want. It's like when people write letters to each other and those letters get published. I feel so bad for Plath and Anais Nin and Kafka and all those writers whose journals were published posthumously after they could not consent, and they've said some very personal things in those journals. I mean, Kafka's going through his daddy issues, Anais Nin's going through her sexual fantasies. Like, all of these people did not intend for their journals to be published, and now they have nothing. They can't do anything about it. It makes me think of James Joyce's letters with, who is it? James Joyce's girl, is it Nina? I can't remember her name, but James Joyce's letters. You can read them and you know for a fact he never intended for those to see the public eye. James Joyce did not write those letters to his lover with the intention of them being compiled into compilations. If you haven't read them yet, James Joyce's, I just had to get my phone out for this and I'm very anti-phone today. This is how much I love you. James Joyce's love letters to his beautiful girl Nora. I'm going to give you the gist and read some lines to you because this is just makes me laugh because he had no intention of these seeing the public eye and now they are public property. James Joyce had a penchant for wind. Gas, dare I say. James Joyce liked farting. James Joyce had a farting kink. Is there a proper way to say farting? I don't know. I'm going straight to the point here. There is some really funny lines. Can I say this on my public YouTube channel that's monetized? I'm going to anyway. It just makes me laugh so much. James Joyce, celebrated writer, celebrated author, deemed a genius for Ulysses. Some of it's quite beautiful, obviously. Some of it's, my love for you allows me to pray to the spirit of eternal beauty and tenderness mirrored in your eyes, or to fling you down under me on that soft belly of yours, and at every fuck I gave you, your shameless tongue come bursting out through your lips, and if I gave you a bigger, stronger fuck than usual, fat, dirty farts came spluttering out of your backside. You had an ass full of farts that night, darling, and I fucked them out of you, big fat fellows, long windy ones, quick little merry cracks, and a lot of tiny little naughty farties, ending in a long gush from your hole. I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry for exposing you to this, but this goes back to my point of we should not posthumously publish people's letters and diaries. I just want to clarify that my letters and journals are by no means comparable to that. I don't want to give the wrong impression there. I'm not, there is no word farties in my channel. This video has taken a turn. I'm back to boredom. I just learned that I don't know how to spell embarrassed. I have gone my entire life thinking it was one R. You learn something new every day. I'm working on my novel right now because an agent just sent back some potential edits. We're just doing some trial edits to see if we edit harmoniously together, because I'm after a very specific editorial type of editing from some inside perspective. And so I'm doing that, and most of the time editing is fun when it's someone else's edits, because I like to, it's a challenge, it's fun, you know. They tell you how they perceive something and how they want to perceive something, and it's your choice to manipulate the words in a way that enhances that or abides to it. But then also you can stand your ground, of course, and if you don't like an edit, you can say, no, this is not the intention that I had, I'm going to leave it. And it's fine. It feels like it's a whole separate entity to writing the book for me, because writing the novel in itself, that's just me. But then once it's time for editing, it's a whole separate task, because you're involved with a team who have perceived your novel, and now the novel's not just yours. Every single video that I make, I can't help but mention the weather, and obviously because I live in England, the weather's going to be shit. But I can't stress enough to myself, not to you, to myself, that I made the conscious decision to live here. I moved here. I moved across the entire planet, to the opposite side of the planet, from a beautiful, sunny climate to live here, where it's always grey and gloomy. And so I needn't complain. I truly needn't complain. And I love living here with my entire heart. It's just this is my first full English winter, and so it's hard to not talk about it all the time, because it's so new for me. This is new for me. I mean, I'm not used to it yet, no, but maybe one day I will be. Hopefully I will be. But you know what's nice is that spring's around the corner, and I'm gonna go for a walk later and take you with me, of course, and I'll show you all the trees are blossoming, and there's cherry blossoms, and there's some flowers that are blooming nearby, and it's really nice to see, because it just reminds me that there's hope, and spring's coming, and summer's on her way. And what's that Dostoevsky quote that I bring up all the time, way too much, about the sun being there, and even if you can't see the sun, you know that it's there, and there's a whole life in that, in knowing that the sun is there. Let me see if I'm verbatim. I'm not. I exist in thousands of agonies. I exist. I'm tormented on the rack but I exist. Though I sit alone in a pillar, I exist. I see the sun, and if I don't see the sun, I know it's there. And there's a whole life in that, in knowing the sun is there. Ah. Every time I say it, every single time, I have the exact same reaction. And it's just, oh, what a great quote, what a beautiful quote. You know how you just can't get sick of some things? I have a lot of quotes that I love that I've driven home to the point now where I see them and it's just, oh, just damage points. But this is the one that I'll never get over. Because I have a thing for the sun, as per title of my first book. And I have a thing for existing, as per human nature, as per such is a condition of being alive. Anyway, I should get back to working on my edits because I want to have them done ASAP. I mean, there's no like strict time frame for these ones particularly, but I am a prompt person, and so I want to have it done, and I want to do the good thing, I want to do the right thing, and it means a lot to me to have it done, so I'm going to go focus on this for a while. If you are a writer or artist of any medium, which I bet you are because you're a part of my community, I am launching a literary and arts journal / not so secret cult via Squarespace, where I provide a monthly prompt and you can create something based on that prompt and submit it, and I curate a lovely little world of art for you and others to consume. I crafted / am still crafting this platform myself, and it is quite involved, but luckily for me I'm partnering with Squarespace to bring it to you. Squarespace just makes the whole process of building a website so seamless and, dare I say, enjoyable. And I love Squarespace for turning passion projects into professional projects and morphing dreams and concepts into tangible realities. And this is just done so simply by the Fluid Engine design system and elements that I can eventually play with, like email campaigns and an online store. You can check out the collective at nowheregirlcollective.com and make yourself familiar until submissions open, and in the meantime you can head to squarespace.com/DakotaWarren for 10% off your first purchase if you want to build your own website or passion project too. I'm consuming? Who says that? I'm eating dinner. What time is it? I don't know what time it is. I have my phone. I keep on intentionally leaving my phone like out of reach so I don't reach for it, and then I have no concept of time whatsoever. I went for a big walk and I got back and it's dark now. I also did some groceries because I had nothing to eat. And I'm kind of snotty. Could this be, am I getting sick? Because I felt awful all day. I will say that much. I have felt awful, and I have had this brain fog that just will not lift for a few days now. And I was really struggling to be creative. Maybe I'm getting sick, maybe I'm just tired, I don't know. Maybe I'm in a bit of a funk, if you will. I feel off. You know when you feel a looming sense of dread for no apparent reason? I just feel like my body temperature's out, and I feel a sense of dread. I feel like there's a threat at bay. I would just like to clarify that I was just sitting in the dark, working in the dark, because I like the darkness. And I just turned the overhead light on to film this, but I never use this light. This light, to me, awful. Overhead lights are product of the devil. Unfortunately though, at the level of low light that I generally work with, cameras don't like to pick it up. So for the sake of the video, hello to the big light. I am back on editing my novel. I've been editing for hours, but because it's on my laptop and because I'm at home, it feels like I've done nothing. That's the butt of it, isn't it? The butt is that when you work from home, it feels like you're not working. I'm worried about how much I use my phone. Not today, I've been good today, but I don't know. I think it's hard because my, you know, I create content, so I have to be online a lot. And I enjoy it as well, don't get me wrong, I love a good scroll, and the internet is such an inspiring, incredible place when you're in the right ends of it, but it's just so hard to not get sucked into that timeless doom scroll kind of loop. And I've been, the past few weeks, there's been multiple times where I've just gained consciousness mid doom scroll, and I can't even think back and name 5 things that I'd watched in 3 hours of scrolling, which is absolutely can't be good for my brain. And so I'm starting to get a bit, I'm not starting to get worried about that, we all know it's wrong and bad for us, but you know, it's hard to not feel shame or guilt about it, and it's also hard to quit it. It's just, we are the first generation that are the lab rats for this, because we've known nothing else, which is kind of, I don't know, are you pro-technocracy or anti-technocracy? I can see the benefits, but I'm scared for my brain as I get older, because I wonder how differently I've developed in my reactions to things, and my creativity, my sense of self has been impacted by so much screen time and social media. I'm quite grateful that my mum was always very strict with screen time and social media, and I wasn't allowed my own phone properly until I was 18. It was very monitored. Any iPod Touch use that I had or anything was monitored up until I turned 18, and I was only allowed 2 hours of screen time a day, and that included laptop for homework when I was in school. So I'm grateful to have had my most formative years not on that kind of stuff all the time. I mean, at the time it was traumatic. Traumatic, I say. It was, but all of my friends were like, did you see the thing on Facebook? I wasn't allowed on Facebook. And so I used to get so, I used to feel left out, but now in hindsight, I can look back and say, I am so grateful. I am so grateful that I wasn't allowed uninhibited internet access. Because my God, now that I'm in my 20s and I'm allowed uninhibited internet access, it's having, I feel the effects now because it's so normalized. It feels like the right thing to do, and the average thing to do, the standard thing to do is to just unwind with your screen time. It's interesting. Me and my homies love horizontal in bed with iPhone. When I do actively use my phone less, I get worried sometimes because I have so much uninhibited thinking time, and sometimes it's scary. I think what I'm trying to say is it's either screen time or ruminating. And I'm ruminating. Not in a negative light. I'm not sad. I'm just pensive, which is a good place to be, because it is making me creative in particular ways and making me think about certain things that I would like to change or that I would like to keep. Anyway, that aside, the 2 books that I'm reading right now, I'm going between these because one's fiction, one's non-fiction. That's the general rotation. I'm reading Anna Karenina, Tolstoy, and Wild Thing, which is a life of Paul Gauguin from Sue Prideaux. And I got this from the Faber Spring Party. It's approved. It doesn't come out until September in 2024. I just started these because I just finished the last book that I read. But these are both pretty intense books for my sweet, tired brain. I'm trying to appreciate longer, slower media, because you may have noticed that I like short, sharp media. I like small books that I can get through in one sitting for that dopamine hit. I like films rather than series because I don't have to commit to them and I can get that finished. I don't think it's that deep. I'm not trying to deep it. I don't think it's about the dopamine kind of thing. I think it's just because I like to get things done in one go, because it's all or nothing for me. It's bang, no gray area. Did I just say bang? I know why I said bang, because it's that one kid on TikTok, who always says big up, bang, that whatever that. Oh. I feel like I'm having to rewire my neural pathways. Just today, just this one day today, I have just rewired my neural pathways, and they're gonna snap back into place as soon as I'm asleep. I know that for a fact. What was I saying? I'm trying to enjoy small, slower media, literature and film, and things that I can commit to and invest myself in and look forward to, rather than things that I can get out in one go. I mean, I'm not trying to change myself in that regard. This is more so an experiment to see if I can, how I feel when I'm finished, to see if it's a different emotion that it evokes upon completion, and just live slower, because my life is quite fast-paced, and so I'm trying to just find a little tidbits around that to be grateful for and more intentional with. I think that I'm always chasing intention. I'm gonna keep writing now. She loves the sharp and breathy kind, the kind she forces when she's embarrassed or knows she's done something she shouldn't have done, or knows she's done something she shouldn't have. Was it? What did I do? I sit on my knees working the canvas, leaning against my bedroom wall. I glance over at my fold across my bed, reading. I look away. The way her hair falls over her shoulders threatens to drive me mad if I look at her for any longer. I didn't do anything, really.